Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Thursday morning. The New York Mets advance to the NLCS the first time since 2015 as they beat the Philadelphia Phillies last night 4-1. It was nerve-wracking. It was nail-biting time. It was crazy even to the very end as Edwin Diaz comes in and starts walking the ballpark. But another one of these moments, and another one of these moments from Francisco Lindor, who has put together a spectacular season for the ages in a Mets uniform. And the Mets have had some great moments throughout their history, but not a ton. So when the team goes on a run like this and a player goes on a run like this, it will be remembered forever. And this keeps getting better every single game as they are now one series away from the World Series. They celebrate at Citi Field, and I mean, apologies all around. I don't know how many times I got to say it. I'm sorry to the Mets. I'm sorry to Steve Cohen. I'm sorry to Francisco Lindor. I'm sorry to Brandon Nimmo. I'm sorry to the Mets that were in John Ledecky's box in the Islanders at the Islanders playoff game when they were like 3 or 4 games under 500. I didn't even go up and talk to him because I was disgusted with him. I'm sorry to those guys. I think Sean Manaea was one of them. Nimmo was there. I'm sorry to everybody because the joy you are providing us right now is unmatched. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. I am jacked up. I am happy. I'm happy for a lot of reasons. I'll start with the Mets. I got to say that a couple guys really stood out. Now, Jose Quintana did a great job yesterday, got him through 5, and then David Peterson, again, shows up big. I mean, he had an awesome year as a starting pitcher for the New York Mets, and now has become a big part of the bullpen, especially in high-leverage situations. He was great. There was a couple moments last night in this game that I don't necessarily know that a lot of people are talking about, but it just kind of signified what the game was. Francisco Alvarez made 2 unbelievable picks as a catcher with 50-foot pitches. And both of those, he caught and nobody was able to move up the base path and nothing like that. The next inning, Real Muto was unable to do that. Mm-hmm. And Hoffman threw 2 wild pitches.
Yeah, he was all over the place.
I mean, so Jeff Hoffman right now is persona non grata in Philadelphia because of his performance in this particular series. But what can you say about Francisco Lindor? And when he hit the ball last night, and, you got Brzezinski and you got Wainwright in there, and they talk about how, there was no bat flip, there was no nothing. It was almost like he expected to do it, and it was an amazing moment, and an absolute amazing moment. And you could feel like the tension, and I really thought that FS1 did a great job capturing the tension on the fans' faces in the stadium as this moment is about to unfold. And then as Francisco launches this ball into right field, it was just an amazing, amazing feeling. I mean, we all had it together. For those people that are at the stadium, the stadium probably was rocking. And it's one of those moments that you're going to remember for a long, long, long time, just like the Pete Alonso home run, just like the Francisco Lindor home run in Atlanta. I mean, this team just keeps giving you unbelievable moments to remember. And whether it be Daniel Murphy, who did this back in 2015, or what Francisco Lindor is doing right now, it's just remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. And we haven't had a chance to really have something like this. How many times have we said, why can't it be our team? Why can't our team just surprise the hell out of everybody and do something spectacular? And between Lindor, between the timely hitting, except for early in this game, because you felt like, there were so many opportunities that they missed. And then on top of that, the bullpen doing what it has done, it's been a remarkable run, and you don't want it to end. And you don't know who we're going to play yet, simply because the Dodgers, with that bullpen game we were talking about yesterday, ended up demolishing the Padres last night.
Yeah, they did. So that Game 5 will be on Friday. And Steve Cohen said something in the clubhouse when he was celebrating where he said, I want to change the negative perception of the Mets fan, and this team is helping to do that. And I couldn't agree more, because during this game,
They load the bases, first and second inning, they don't score. But they load the bases again, and Francisco Alvarez, strikes out, or actually, no, he had that weak ground ball to short. And they cut
Force
him off.
out at home, yep.
Yeah, force out at home. So, Francisco Lindor comes up, and I'm just expecting something special to happen. Never. I mean, as early as last week, as recent as last week, I'm thinking Pete Alonso is grounding into a double play and the season is over and he hits that home run. And then now, after what I've seen since then, I'm like, he's going to do something. I mean, he's at least going to tie the game. I can guarantee you that. He's at least going to tie the game with a sac fly. Maybe he gets 2 runs in with a base hit. Maybe he hits a gapper. It'd be great if he hit a grand slam. But he's going to do something because that's who they are. And he hits that grand slam, and it was just perfect. And the fact that he's rounding the bases, and he did the same thing with that home run down in Atlanta, and he's rounding the bases like he expected to do it. I mean, it's just I can't get over it. I cannot. Every game gets crazier. And on top of it, it's the Philadelphia Phillies, who I have spent a majority of my lifetime just hating, being turned off by. Their fans, they suck, their team, everything. The fact that 2007, it was them that came back. Cole Hamels with the choke job. He actually said that on Joe and Evan when I was producing it, where the Mets choked. And I was just, I was so angry that I've had the anger towards that organization. And to face them for the first time ever in the playoffs and just swat them away. And I told you on Monday from your golf tournament, I said, I don't think they're going back to Philadelphia. And here we are. There's one team going back to Philadelphia, and it's the Phillies to clean out their lockers.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what you get for trolling us. That's what you get for touching the money. That's what you get for, questioning who we are as Met fans and what we're all about. I mean, there's so many different things that happen in this game as in every game that just stand out. And I don't know. There were a couple times where you just want Martinez and Marte just hit a sac fly, please.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't happening early on in the game. But I feel you, man. I feel like it's there's something special that has been happening over the last 2.5. Actually, it's been happening probably, and as they put up last night, a couple of the statistics since June 30th. I would have to say it's been happening through August, September, and now October. So the thing is continuing. The magical moments are continuing. And when and everybody, knock on wood, everybody's healthy. Everybody, with the exception of Jeff McNeil, everybody's there. Everybody's participating. Everybody's had some skin in the game, whether it be Jesse Winker the other night. It's, of course, Francisco Lindor's in the middle of everything. But I think just watching this and feeling it does feel for me, and I can't remember everything that was going on, like the unexpected 1969 amazing Mets. Like nobody expected that.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that exact point. Not so much 69 because I was not around at all, but these Mets teams that they have assembled over the years that were supposed to be great. There have been so many busts. Whether it was the worst team that money could buy with Bobby Bonilla and Jeff Torborg as the manager, or it was, after that, like early 2000s when they went out and got Kevin Appier and Mo Vaughn, and they tried to buy a team at free agency there, or even as recently as the Steve Cohen era where he decides, we're going to go and get the top pitchers, we're going to pay him $40 million a year, and that's how we're going to win, even though these guys are 40 years old. And those teams flop. Those are the teams that flop. But this team, where David Stearns comes in, and he's still, and I will stand by one thing because I've been dead wrong 99% of the time with the Mets this entire season. But this offseason was a reset offseason. Like David Stearns came in and was like, all right, we're going to rebuild the farm system. We're not going to sign anybody to a long-term deal. If we win, great, but, we want to be competitive, but we just got to get things in order in my first year here. We got to, it's a 3-year plan. It's not. And this team is the one that's doing this.
Well, I will say,
it's amazing.
I will say that there are a number of guys that are on 1-year deals that are prove-it deals that could have been traded at the trade deadline but weren't.
Yep, absolutely.
And those are the guys that really are the backbone of your team. This is where you got to be really, really careful about signing somebody to some long-term massive contract, and then they don't make it. But that's for another time. That's not for today. What today is Today is about celebrating what this team did yesterday, how they took care of the Phillies relatively. I don't. Nothing's easy, but they kind of went right through them, and it was they could have easily swept them. By the way, they could have easily swept them. And then, of course, Edwin Diaz has got to take us to the cliff.
I mean,
if he
he's so volatile. I was just talking to Al and Jerry before the show started, and like it's Carlos Mendoza's one flaw. If he's got one flaw, it's the fact that he looks at Edwin Diaz the wrong way. He has too much faith in this guy. Now, he got the job done ultimately, but he just trusts the guy too much.
Well, when he is finding the strike zone and his ball is moving the way it moved last night, he's almost impossible to hit. Yeah. It's when he's walking guys, putting guys on base. I'm happy he came through with the way he came through because he needed that. He needed to regain his confidence, and he needed to shut him down, even though he put guys on him. Maybe he just pitches better with guys on. He's not paying attention. Guys are stealing bases. I mean, it's amazing watching those first 9 or 10 pitches.
Yeah, it was not 9 out of 11.
Close. They were a couple were close. He could have gotten a strike here or there, but he didn't. He is so emotionally volatile. He wears it on his face. So when he walks these two guys, you could see the lack of confidence. He's looking up. You could see it on his face. Then they come out, they talk to him. He throws a first pitch ball after that to Clemens, but he ends up striking out Clemens. And the second that he strikes out Clemens, you could see the confidence came out of the sky and went back into him, and his face was like, okay, now we're gonna go. And then 2022, Edwin Diaz showed up, but it's like he has to get off to that great start. He's got to strike that first guy out because the second that things start to avalanche, it's bad. But they got to him, they talked to him, Francisco Lindor, arm around him, and they got him working. But I mean, God, I was like, this son of a bitch cannot blow this game at this point. You just cannot blow this game at this point. And it was funny. I still follow Brody Van Wagenen on Instagram from all those years ago when he was the general manager. He posted 2 things last night. 1, Edwin Diaz coming into the game, and 2, the highlight of Edwin Diaz striking out Schwarber, just to let everybody know that he was the one who made that trade. Let everybody know, hey, I had a piece of this. There's all this David Stern, Steve Cohen talk. I don't want to hear it. I had a piece of this whole thing. Yeah, where was he 3 years ago?
Yeah, I didn't nowhere.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nowhere. Okay, that's right. Now, and then on the other side of things, then the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, Giancarlo Stanton can run. He can run.
Stole a base
last night.
Well, they weren't paying attention to him.
I know, but he actually looked like he could run. So I don't want to hear any more about we can't run anymore. I mean, and he hits obviously a bomb and saves their ass. And quite frankly, their bullpen has been money. Their bullpen has basically been money in this series, and it's kept them, and kept the Royals at bay. And all I know is watching this team, the excitement's not there.
No,
and
it's
I don't
not.
know. Maybe it's not there because of the freaking announcer.
Well,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel bad for Yankee fans that they got to listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, I really, I'm always the one I've complained about broadcast too much lately because I never really complain about the broadcast, but there's a couple things that are they're too obvious that I had to mention. One was the Rich Eisen rooting for the Jets. You can't have a Jets fan call a Jets game on national TV. You just can't do that. And then what's going on here with Bob Costas? This
is 2 years in a row.
So I actually, Met game's over, and I'm watching the celebration and everything, and then when they cut from the field back to the post game, then I got my full attention on the Yankees. It was probably 3 minutes that I listened to him, and then I just put the volume all the way down, and I didn't hear another word that he said. I gave him 3 minutes. He doesn't shut the F up ever. And you want to talk about sucking the life out of the fan base, like the Post said about Carlos Rodon. Bob Costas sucks the life out of every viewer. But that being said, just don't listen to him anymore. Put the volume down like I did. Watch the game. It's fine. It's easy. It's actually not that bad.
I feel bad for Ronnie Darling. Actually.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, did you hear on the Volpe play?
Yeah, he's like, that's a catch. He's like, you caught it.
No, but he thought it was a single.
I know, but Darling, the way he was like, he's like, yeah, I mean.
Oh, you have Darling had to tell him. It's like
Yeah.
he didn't see it. I don't know. I don't know what happened on that particular play, but there's no level of excitement. Like, that doesn't go anywhere. Like, on the home run for Giancarlo, it's like, come on.
So on the bar, I don't know. They probably tweeted out a million things, Al. But if you could find in the next couple minutes when we're talking about the Yankees, the Barstool Sports account tweeted out a highlight that said Bob Costas with an absolutely electric in caps call. So if you could find that, and it's just obviously it's not an electric call, and we'll play it.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, all right. So they win the game. The bullpen is great. Clark Schmidt does what he has to do. He's a guy who's not going to shut you down and throw a complete game shutout. So now you're 1 win away. But this team has proven that they can't go far in the playoffs if Giancarlo Stanton is the only guy hitting. Because we've seen this before. We've seen this movie before where he's been the only one hitting, no one else hits, and it's great. He's got these spectacular postseason numbers, and it's postseason Giancarlo and everything else. But they end up losing because no one else is helping.
Well, and Aaron Judge right now is batting, I think, 091 or something.
He got screwed on that check swing. Should have been a walk, but he's still just not. He's just not producing. He's not doing anything. All right, let's listen to this Costas call from last night. Ooh, man,
almost imperceptible. Oh boy.
I mean, that's a regular season call.
You know what that is? That's swarmy.
That's a regular season call.
Yeah, but it's got a swarmy feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy at the cocktail party that you never wanted to go to that you can't get away from. That's what he is. He's just, you can't get away from him. And he's just talking
Super Z!
And he's talking about himself, and he's talking about these things, and you're looking at your friends, and you're like, can you get me out of this? And then they're just laughing at you because they know you're stuck in this vortex, referencing things from decades ago that you don't care about, with a glass of Cab Sav in his hand.
Or Chablis.
Right.
Jesus.
Sniffing it.
Ugh, it is unlistenable.
Oh, it's so bad. But all right, you don't want to get distracted. Yankee fans are probably, they're so fed up with this.
I mean, I feel bad for them. I really do. I mean, it is. And that game was a good game last night. That was a tight game last night. And I just wonder, like, what Juan Soto's doing in right field.
Yeah, so there's still a ton of issues there, and obviously the timing of the jump is what you're referring to there. That's an outlier for him. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. That was just bizarre. Yeah, there's just a lot of weirdness still around this team.
And we had a stolen base, a bunt in this game.
It just doesn't.
I mean, there's a lot of like real baseball stuff happening in this game.
It just didn't. And then coming off the Met game, it just felt like a dud. But it did.
They won the game.
I know, but it just didn't have the same energy. It just didn't. Whether you're a Met fan or a Yankee fan, it didn't have the same energy. I'm sorry. And they won the game great, but it's how they win this next one if they win this next one. It's how they win this next one that's going to determine if I think that they can continue to get through the American League postseason, because they have to hang like 8 runs on somebody at some point, and Aaron Judge has to be a part of it. They can't win a World Series without Judge and Soto being those guys. That's it. It's as easy as that. The rest of the team you feel okay about. But if those guys aren't performing, you got no shot. That's the nucleus of your team. That is your engine. That is everything to you. So they can win a game 3-2 here and fine. You feel okay for a little bit, but
there's always the next day, and as long as they keep winning, there always will be the next day, the next opportunity. It's when they lose and they get knocked out, which I don't believe they will, because I do believe they still are making the World Series. I mean, this is going to be a reoccurring theme, and it's going to be asked of Aaron Judge after every game, going into every game, coming out of every game. It's just going to be round and round and round and round we go. With him and his lack of production. That's all there is to it. And but the good news is that they won, so they have another chance. He has another game to be able to be the reason why they won the game, why maybe they clinched the series.
All right, Jerry's going to join us in a couple of minutes.